We live?
Yes.
We are live. Yes. Let's
We are live.
chat.
Yes.
Nice.
People. Well, it does take a few minutes for people to get in here. We'll just wait for the people to come in and say hello. There's Orlando. Hi, Orlando. There you are. And Pete.
Ta-da.
Welcome.
Happy Saturday or Sunday, depending on which time zone you're in.
Yeah, Sunday over here.
Yep.
Everyone, check into the chat. Whoever's coming in now, just say hello. Tell us where you're coming in from.
All right.
And what time zone? Was it Monday, Tuesday? I'm probably not that far ahead. I think I'm the only one in the
That's
future here.
Sunday.
I mean, we're in the future.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe
Hello,
Tuesday.
vibes. Let's go. Ben, Adam, welcome. From Tex, lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a shower at lunchtime. You just tell me about the shower you had in Orlando.
That's right. I came from a little workout. I just showered. I'm here. And after this, I'm going to get some lunch, I think, once my wife comes back. I see people from Seattle, Poland. Wow. Happy Saturday afternoon, evening, actually, right? 7-8 hours ahead of here. Nice.
Oh, China.
Oh, wow.
What time is
China.
it in China right now?
What time is it in China? Yeah, which part of China? I know China has multiple time zones.
And then
Hi, Nigeria. From where in Nigeria? Lagos or somewhere else? All right, we'll see in a minute.
Yeah, China's not telling us what time it is, but they're ahead. We have that much.
Exactly. It's 7 p.m. in my hometown, Rome, Italy. Well,
Roma.
10 a.m.
Oh, okay.
time.
All right. I think let's kick it off. Who's starting today? We've got Orlando, Daniele, and Pete from Toolhouse here today, and they're going to talk about MCP. I know they've done something massive recently. Some of you might have already seen it on the circle. I know there's been some good posts on social media. Who's kicking off?
I think Daniele is going to kick it off with an intro to Toolhouse, and then we're going to show how you can use the Toolhouse hosted Supabase MCP server so that you can build agentic projects that connect to Supabase, and you can do amazing things. We're going to showcase a specific use case where we are building a to-do app that connects to your Supabase in an agentic way with Toolhouse. I think that's the show today.
Yes.
We're going to keep questions at the end, but feel free to blast questions in the chat. We'll go over them once we're done with the small presentation that we have ready here.
Yeah, and today we're going to vibe together. So I'm Daniele, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Toolhouse, and we're Lovable's BFFs. Why? Because when we go to events or even like Circle and Shift or hackathons, we saw a ton of people coming from Lovable and say, okay, now how do I build my AI agents? I built this nice app. I just want to put some AI capabilities, and it's so hard. And it's right, because it's like, AI is this new freeway. Imagine that, you have like this new highway where you can drive, and you want a car to drive. And you try and purchase this car ready-made for you. You can just like sit and drive, but you can't. Instead, you go out there in the market and they only sell you the engine, the gearbox, the windshield, the seats. And then they tell you, well, you have to assemble it yourself. But you're not somebody who assembles car. You just want to drive, Who's building this car? We are. So what Toolhouse is really this car ready-made that allows you to, bam, integrate into whatever app or flow you're using very simply. And a bunch of you already are doing that. And I'm so looking forward to what demo day is going to look like for you, because we've seen such amazing applications of Lovable and Toolhouse together. And then, there's this holy trinity of Supabase, because now you need to connect your login system and database to both Lovable and your agentic backend Toolhouse, and we were like, how can we do this very simply? And everybody bumps into MCP, but nobody has like the perfect fit for MCP, Lovable, and Supabase. And so we stepped in and we built it. And we posted it, and now today we're going to show you exactly how to build a very simple app that's not going to compete with yours, but it's going to be super useful. So I hope this is going to be useful, fun for you to watch and build. And if you have any questions, just let us know. One thing I want to say is, obviously, if you haven't done so, make sure you sign up for Toolhouse. It's free, Toolhouse.ai. You can just start there. With that, I'm just going to hand it over back to Orlando and Pete.
All right, awesome. I also wanted to say that Toolhouse can help you with a lot of use cases. Of course, we connect to Supabase, but if you want to do some scraping, if you want to do some social media analysis, there's a lot of things that you can do with Toolhouse. So today, we're going to show you how to build a to-do app. I think either me or Pete are going to share our screen, whoever has it ready first. Pete, do you have it open, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I can share.
All right.
So what we built for you guys is, sorry, I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
No worries. So first of all, you need a Toolhouse account, which you can get for free, and then you need a Supabase account, which you can get for free. Those are two necessary steps because without having the database and the agentic backend that connects to your database, you're not going to be able to build your Lovable project in a way that it connects in an intelligent way to your database. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do to this URL here, which hopefully Daniele can post in the chat while we speak. And this is a project that we built using Lovable. So why did we build this? We wanted to make it super simple for people to figure out how to connect Toolhouse to the Supabase MCP server. Lovable gave us the superpowers of building this helper utility page in literally 2 minutes or less, actually. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to create an agent in Toolhouse that uses the Toolhouse Supabase MCP server. But you need 2 pieces of information from Supabase. The first thing is your Supabase project ID. Now we should be able to like change tab and show you where you can find the Supabase project ID if we're actually sharing the full. Yeah, we should probably share. Okay, yep, there it is, project ID. So you navigate to your project. You on the left-hand side, you have the cog icon at the bottom. You can see that, and then under General, there's project ID, and you copy it. Then you go back. Yep, copy it for us. Paste it in that first input box. And then you're going to need a personal access token. The personal access token, you can click on the link. We already did it. We hyperlinked it for you. And this should take you to the exact page. There it is. You can generate a new token, or if you already have one from a previous thing, yep, there it is. It's a one-time, you can only see the token once. So make sure you copy it. There you go, because then you're never going to be able to see it again. So save it somewhere where you can remember it for further use, perhaps. But for now, just put it in your clipboard. And then let's go back to the Lovable Toolhouse linker project. We're going to slap it in the second input box right there. And with these 2 pieces of information, you can now connect an AI agent to Supabase. And now we're going to show you how to build the AI agent inside of Toolhouse. You can see this URL right there. That's what we've generated thanks to this Lovable linker thing. It just computes a couple parts together. Now we hit the big purple button and the magic shall begin. You're going to be redirected automatically into Toolhouse. Make sure you have a Toolhouse account and you're logged in. We already pre-created a prompt, which our Toolhouse Agent Studio agent is going to build a whole agent for you. So let's read what the top prompt says. It says, create an agent that can connect to my Supabase. We need to scroll a little bit here. Okay, so create an agent that can connect to my Supabase MCP server. Then we pasted the URL. Actually, it was automatically pasted for you. And then it says some other things that I can read. The default message is, what's my Supabase project URL? All right, and so with this prompt, Toolhouse has built an agent that can connect to your Supabase project. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see that it generated a recipe to basically it basically created an agent, right? This recipe that you can see, you can deploy it to test it out to see how it works. It has a system prompt done for you. We hit that deploy button, and then you're going to be able to chat with it by clicking the preview button at the top. And we built a nice interface for you to test your agent in real time. So if you're not happy with how the agent performs, you can go back on the left-hand side and change your agent. But let's give it a whirl, and let's see. We can ask a question, something like, "What's inside the database?" or something like that. There might be some pre-populated tables, or it might be completely empty. So let's see what the agent says. So what happens here is that the agent connects to Supabase using your natural language query. It gets sent to the MCP server, and it's going to basically do a query on your behalf, so you don't have to write SQL, and it's going to find out what's inside the database. All right, very cool. Now, if we go to Supabase, and we can verify that this is correct. Yep, table editor, and you can see, yep. You can see if you click on the schema, there's no table. So let's go ahead and build one, right?
Yeah, what you see in that answer, you only get the default database setup on the authentication side. So it's connecting to Supabase, it's listing tables you can even see here. And now we know that we are connected.
We can create a table, right? Like we can say, okay, create a to-do table, and then we're going to add some fields in it, all right?
You can actually say something more like, I want to create a to-do app. Can you set up a database for it? Like, you can be as natural as you want. And actually, the more natural, the better.
Yeah. So I think we have some pre-built prompts here that we can go and paste into the chat. Let's see if we can find it real quick while Pete does this.
Yeah.
All right, I have the prompts here.
All right.
The first one was, I want to create a to-do app. Can you set up the database for it? And I think we already created the first part. So we're going to go to the second part, which was add some sample to-do items in the to-do table. All right. Now, again, the agent is going to basically create these things for you. And that's pretty powerful because, again, you don't have to write SQL.
Right. There you go. In the meantime, you can actually also switch to Supabase and see if it actually worked. So this is so magic. I didn't even know. There you go.
All right. Now we see the table on the left.
If you click on that table, you probably should be able to see all the items just created, right? Yep. So we just pre-populated the items in the table that the Toolhouse agent created when it's connected to Supabase.
That's right. Awesome.
You can also change statuses for your items. So it could be like change groceries to complete, and it should update your table for you.
That's right. All right, now we're going to do another very nice little demo, something that uses end-to-end Lovable. So this way you can see exactly how you can use the superpowers that you just acquired by watching this stream. And again, thank you for being here on a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday morning, a Sunday, depending whichever time zone you're in, or maybe a morning in California or something like that, right?
So let's recap what we did so far. So we basically used the Supabase MCP server and a Toolhouse agent to scaffold our app. This way you can do basic things like just create the scaffolding for a to-do app, but there's more you can do. For example, if you were to build an app that needed to fetch some data off the internet, you can tell the agent, hey, give me the latest news about Lovable, OpenAI, Anthropic, and create a news digest table on Supabase. And what the agent would do here would be exactly to get our web search tools that are pre-built into this agent and use that as knowledge to create those entries. So instead of a to-do app, we could have created like a newsroom app. And we have already 40 plus MCP servers built in, and then you can bring whatever other MCP server you like. But we started very small, and we just did basically an assistant, an agent that can understand everything about Supabase and our implementation, and then together just like help you create the configuration in just one thing. What we're going to do next instead is actually create a client-facing and user-facing agent. So this is an agent that is very powerful because it allows you to actually interact with each one of databases. And you don't want your end users to do the same because they could destroy your database, right? So we're going to create a specialized agent that then you're going to plug into your Lovable account. And that as well uses the same MCP server, okay? So with that, we're going to create a new agent.
Yep, we're going to need the MCP server URL from the first page that we had, or you can copy paste it. The actually MCP one. So on the Toolhouse linker, that URL, copy that. So we save it into our clipboard, and now back into Toolhouse, we're going to create a new agent from scratch. Perfect. Let's go. All right, here's the prompt. So we're going to write it all together. I'm going to dictate it because I think we don't have it saved anywhere. All right, create an agent that can connect to my Supabase MCP server. And then we're going to paste the URL that we have in the clipboard. And then we're going to also write underneath, like a new paragraph, so to speak. We're going to write, this agent is in charge of a to-do app built in Supabase. And then in a new paragraph, we're going to say, the user is going to ask the agent to create, update, or even delete to-dos. There is only one table called to-do. Make sure the agent only uses that table when interfacing with the Supabase database. And now, before we launch this, let's double check that we did have, in fact, a table in Supabase called to-do. By going back to Supabase, yep, it's to-do. We have some data in there. Perfect. So let's go ahead and submit that agent in Toolhouse. Oh, there we go. Let's build it.
We're going to send it. And so as always, what you get with Toolhouse is also a prompt engineer for free. Fun fact, this agent studio is built on Toolhouse. Like, we're basically just a company like yours, and we build things on Toolhouse. And this agent basically it knows everything about Toolhouse and is able to give you the best possible prompt because obviously it's built on its own platform. And so you don't have to do a ton of prompt engineering. You have to figure out all the nitty-gritty of that. It just gets this.
That's right. So now the next thing we're going to do is deploy this agent because we love the prompt. We think it's great. Looks really engineered to be okay. Great. Now, as you can see in Toolhouse, we have this direct integration with Lovable. At the end, we basically pre-created a prompt that you can simply copy paste into Lovable. So click the copy button. That's right. And now back into Lovable. We're going to open Lovable in a new tab or something. Oh, we have a lot of tabs. Yo. And now we're going to paste. Perfect. And then we're gonna let Lovable build us an incredible to-do app.
Yeah, so it was a pretty simple prompt here that will get the to-do list, and then the user should have an input to add the to-do, and then when the user submits to-do, just call the agent with this body here, and I just pre-filled this. And so there's the app, obviously, instead of the dog, and then what else? What can we add? Remember, buy eggs. And so this will create basically a confirmation or not based on the success or the status of the agent. Yes, to do created, title by X, status, haven't done that yet, perfect. So if I go and on Supabase, I see that this has been created. I didn't put any description, which makes sense. And that was the app.
So by prompting better, you can achieve whatever you want. You just need to massage the prompt and understand. I mean, that's the thing about being vibe coders. You have to use a lot of trial and error to get the prompt right. The hack would be to be very specific in understanding how API requests work and understanding all of the nuances of building with the vibe coding approach, which still requires understanding what is a database, what's an API. There's a lot of things, exactly like Brenton is saying, you're still an engineer if you're a prompt engineer. System architecture is still important, which I think it's been very interesting to see people ask for help during the whole Shipped thing event. There's a lot of questions about more fundamentals of building applications and the web, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the team has done the best they could to try to help everybody. There's a lot of questions. My suggestion for anyone who's really wanting to take their career to the next step is spend some time watching some introduction to building websites and the web on YouTube. There's a lot of good tutorials which will talk about APIs, databases, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that will literally advance your knowledge. Once you are prompting and vibe coding, you will be able to write better prompts because you will be using the words that the AI understands, which I think it's a big iceberg to climb, or a big mountain to climb for most starting vibe coders, right? Initial, yeah.
One thing I wanted to say, just goes to loop on that. My first computer program, I was 8, and I'm so old. I use BASIC. I don't even know if any of you know what BASIC is. And it's basically just a programming language. It was supposed to be simple to use, but it wasn't. So my first code was just build a working clock. And then I pressed enter and it's syntax error. So age 8, maybe I invented prompt engineering, I want to say. But obviously now, it's so easy to build something like that. I wish I had that when I was 8. This wouldn't be boring. But that's basically the beauty of the prompt. You just need to figure out exactly what to tell to the machine. I see more questions here, and I saw also somebody wanted to see other MCP servers in use if we could do that. So we can definitely do that. There's also another question here that says bundle MCP means I can connect to Toolhouse 2 or more MCPs at the same time. Okay. There's a few things here to unpack. So we have a concept of bundles. What is a bundle? A bundle is basically, think of it as a folder. In a folder you have files, and then you can select what files you want in and out. Similar in bundles. By default, in Toolhouse, you have 40 plus tools, and then you can add as many MCP servers you want. But then with bundle, you can select what kind of tools you want or not. You can actually create an agent that doesn't use any tools and becomes just a shell agent that's able to communicate with the user, but it's not going to able to perform stuff like searching the internet, sending emails, talking to Slack, and so on and so forth. Cool.
There was a question about can we use external MCP servers? I think Carlo asked yes, you can add any external MCP server as long as they are containing in the URL of the MCP the authentication. So most servers are like that. You just ask the Toolhouse agent, use this MCP server, and it knows where to add it into the recipe. And then that way, when you chat with it, it will use the server that you specified. So in your example here was, you want to connect to the YouTube data API. Yes, I think that's definitely doable through Pipedream. But you need to specify your authentication yourself, right? So let's have a look. I'm not sure how this one specifically works on Pipedream. Doesn't really say about the configuration. And I need to log in to see how that works. I don't have that login. So maybe it's possible. But again, if it's not an OAuth connection, then it should be working with Toolhouse. What other questions do we have?
Yeah, we'd also be very happy to follow up with any of you guys if you wanted to go further into using Toolhouse or had any extra questions about, our app.
And also, we're very active on the Shipped Forum circle. So if you actually have questions, just tag us or type the word Toolhouse. I check that forum literally 10 times a day. And I always order by recent, so I can see if you mention us or if you just mention the name Toolhouse, we'll see it.
Yeah,
if you have queries with your account, or if you're purchasing Toolhouse for $10 to get more executions, if you have any questions, just send me a DM. I'm on the forum 24/7.
All right, we found somebody who used GW Basic. I see you. All right, so to the question. First of all, if you go to help.toolhouse.ai, you can actually ask questions like this. How do I use an external MCP server? And you can actually say something more specific, like I bumped across Pipedream and I see it has MCP server. How can I connect it to Toolhouse? And then you will get the right answer. You can also say, hey, I don't know how to code, I'm not technical, so it will explain that in simpler terms.
Yeah.
Toolhouse.ai. Specifically, I'm going to use something that doesn't require any authentication. We already had the login for. It's Smithery. Smithery is basically a provider of MCP servers. There's a ton of servers there. And let's say you want to use a specific search server like DuckDuckGo that they have available. You just go on like DuckDuckGo. That's what I did. Then I did, I saw the list. I just got the remote ones. Remember to only use remotes because those are the ones that can be connected to other services. And then I clicked generate URL and get link. And then I built a prompt like this. We build a web search agent that uses this MCP server. That's it. And then it created the agent for me. Then I added this bundle, no tools. And that's for me just a nice cue to show you how bundles work in Toolhouse. So you go on bundles and you can create a bundle. And this bundle basically is a collection of only the tools you want. And we also have a bunch of web search tools. So if you wanted, you could use DuckDuckGo plus all the other search tools that we have. Let's see, maybe even Bex web search, and you can say search bundle. But in this specific case, so when you create this, you have 4 MCP servers plus the DuckDuckGo that you just added. And all you have to do is go back to Agent Studio and say, hey, add this bundle with the name of the bundle. In this case, I use this bundle called no tools. That's 0 tools, which forces the agent to only rely on DuckDuckGo. And so I deploy the agent, and let's see what happens. If I go on the preview here, what is the internet saying about fossil fuels? And they should search on the internet and figure out the answer for us by just only relying on the Smithery server. There you go. And obviously, if we ask them, hey, can you send me this by email, it won't be able to do it because you don't have any other tools available here.
There's another really cool feature inside of Toolhouse called Agent Runs. It's on the left-hand side next to Agent Studio, and it will help you debug because you will be able to see what Toolhouse does, what MCP servers is using, the answer from the MCP server, and then how it's reasoning over and over again. So there's, here's some examples of something we were running earlier. And that's kind of what it looks like, using search X, which searches Twitter or X. Then you can see the output of the search and then what the answer from the agent is. And that's great to debug and understand, hey, what's going on with my agent? Why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? There's a question from Marvin. As long as MCP exists from where I want to connect, it can be connected to Toolhouse. Yes, Smithery is a really good resource. They host remote MCP servers. They have thousands. I don't know about MCP.so. Maybe let's have a look.
I do, so I can tell you. So MCP.so only gives you the local configuration. Instead, Smithy gives you the remote configuration, meaning that those MCP servers that are listed as remote from Smithy allow you to be reached by anything. So what is the difference between local and remote? MCP is only local, meaning that you need to have those MCP servers installed on your laptop, whereas Smithy already has their own cloud with all these MCP servers available, which means that you don't have to keep your laptop on. And that agent and that MCP server can work while you sleep, while your laptop is off, while you're commuting, and it allows you to do exactly what you're expecting your agent to do, to be on and online.
Which, yeah, that's exactly the reason why we built that MCP Supabase server. It's hosted by us, by Toolhouse, like the other ones that we showed you, like the SearchX, Send Email. Those are all hosted, which means if some user in a different time zone uses your Lovable project, your app, then the agent can actually use the servers because they're hosted remotely. Whereas, like Daniele was saying, if you're using a remote server, a non-remote server, a local server, you can only use it when your computer is on, if you install it on your computer, and it's probably not reachable from your Lovable project. It's kind of really important to understand the difference between remote MCP servers hosted on the internet that agents can access, and then local MCP servers that are used only for you, the human behind the keyboard, and just you. So this is kind of a masterclass on MCP, but honestly, this is the world, the way it's going. There's going to be more and more MCP servers, and a lot of companies are going to start hosting it themselves, and just like APIs in a way, with the advantage that they're smart APIs, right? Because you can ask it to do very complicated things, and the MCP server will be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
How to train a TH agent. Can you clarify what do you mean by train it?
Yes, while you type, I can give you my interpretation of the question with an answer. And the answer is you don't. We do it for you. So far, there have been almost 2 million executions on our platform. Okay, and those are like real executions by real users. It means that there are agents that succeeded, agents that failed, and so we evaluate all these executions internally on the platform, categorize them based on the task, so you don't have to. And behind the scenes, what you don't see, and that's why like Toolhouse is so easy. We created 2 agents in 5 minutes. It's so easy because we do constant training and optimization of your agents. Sometimes there are very like micro optimizations. Sometimes there are much bigger optimizations. Behind the scenes, the model can change, and based on the task, it can use a different model. So you don't have to worry about any of this more technical aspects. We take care of that for you. And to me, it's wild to think that we are able to do this, which is like 1 cent per agent execution. That's so cheap. But like behind that cent, you get unlimited tokens, you get storage, you get access to MCP servers, you get all this prompt engineering and optimization that's done for you, and it just happens pretty much every day. So we really optimize based on usage, and the more you use it, the more your agent's going to be able to train itself.
There's even a shorter answer to what Daniele just said, and it depends on what you mean by training. If I take the route that Caroline, I guess, is saying here, can you train the agent to be a specific experience like a luxury real estate agent? Yes, you put that in the prompt. That's like prompt engineering. When you create your agent inside of Toolhouse with the studio, you say, hey, act as an experienced luxury real estate agent that operates in the New York City area. These are the traits that you need to have. These are the things I want you to do. These are the things I don't want you to do. If you put all that into the chat of Agent Studio, when the agent is built for you and optimized, it will then follow those rules. And if you're not happy, all you have to do is like keep chatting until you deploy, and then click deploy and try it again.
I think what they're sort of asking at is, can you get the agent to develop a memory? Can it save all its previous answers and then learn from those answers? That's where it's trying to focus there.
That's built in actually. So memory
statelessness, right?
Yeah.
Every agent that you execute remembers the whole conversation. So if you start from scratch, then it starts from new. But if you continue a chat, it will remember, for example, what you said like 3 weeks ago. For example, like we use that with the help.toolhouse.ai, where if anybody wants to share that while I'm speaking, if you ask a question and then I share the URL with you, it remembers the query that I asked the help bot. So I can share the same answer with you. And so if I ask something specific over time, it keeps track of that. And so then it shares it back to you like how do I set up RAG in Toolhouse? And then you might be able to say like, can you explain it to me in French, right, or something? And then it will do that, and then you could say always respond to me in French or whatever, and then you can basically use that URL over and over and over.
Exactly. So you keep going, and then if you keep adding to this conversation, it's going to remember that that you said you want to do it in French. Then I also want to go back to the luxury aspect there. Like you can set up something like this: build an agent that acts as an experienced luxury real estate in your city. Make sure it only gets luxury listings and a white glove experience, and you can run it and figure out if this is the experience you want. But then when you deploy it and you start talking to it, it's going to remember the experience the user wants as well. So if something is not going according to what the user wants, the agent is able to change its behavior behind the scenes. And that's because those agents all come with memory. And so if you start today talking to this agent and then you pause for a week, and then a week after you start talking to it again, it's going to remember. And that's built in.
Some question about RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which is an advanced way to give PDFs or documents to your agent. You can, if you read our documentation, it tells you how to use it. It requires you to use our CLI, so it's a more advanced use case, but it does handle the vector embeddings automatically.
Yeah. Because people ask what is MCP. Is anybody familiar with what RAG actually means? What it does? You can say in the chat, yes or no.
There's another question about Carlo. While you answer that, is cheaper to use Toolhouse or OpenAI? Well, with Toolhouse, you get the power of using MCP servers, the ones we host ourselves, the ones that you add. So in a way, I guess it depends on your use case. I would say it's cheaper to use Toolhouse because you can do much more than you cannot do with OpenAI or Anthropic. Especially we host the agent for you, so you don't have to host it yourself.
Exactly. So think of it this way. When you build an agent, you don't just use the API, okay? You need to get the OpenAI API or the Anthropic API, and that's one. Then you need to store things somewhere. Then you need to get this famed or famous RAG. RAG means just get a knowledge, put it somewhere, and then build a database that's specifically built to get just small chunks of text out of this huge corpus of data. It's really it's summarized. That's another part. Then you need to get the storage, the memory, the web search. Those are all companies you're going to evaluate and then pay for. Each one of these companies has its own CEO, its own product team, its own sales team, its own engineering team, and you're paying that 5 times over. Instead with Toolhouse, it's all in one company, one CEO that hopefully doesn't get paid too much to cheat on his spouse, at a Coldplay concert, and one eng team, one no product team actually, because we are developers building for byte coders and developers as well. And it's very easy to build for us. So it's all in one, and that allows us to bring the costs down and make it affordable for everybody.
I can see many more questions. I know we're almost at time, but let's see. I have a conversation agent, and I want to maintain privacy for each user, where each user distinct Supabase, where each user is distinct. Okay. Is there any risk for that the agent memory will bleed over between users? Well, it depends on. I mean, is there a risk? There's always a risk with MCP, as you might have heard in the news. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world of MCP, especially Supabase. But if you write the prompt correctly, you should be able to make so that when the agent executes a query on the database, it only filters for a specific user ID.
But that's if you're using the MCP server. Our built-in memory is not prone to that, because we can actually tell each agent whose user the memory is. So you can say, hey, agent, the user Daniele is going to enter now. So just configure yourself to only use that memory. And it's not in prompt. So it's actually a configuration parameter that you're going to pass in the request. And that allows us to remove prompt engineering attacks on memory completely. And then the same agent, now that maybe Orlando gets into the agent and knows that this new user called Orlando is a new user, and so it prepares completely siloed memory just for that user. And that is, again, built in. And we did it because obviously you can find as many memory tools out there, and you're free to use them, by the way. Like, we don't really tie you to just ours. But if you want something that works and it doesn't make you worry about this kind of injection attacks or bleeding, then you can come to Toolhouse.
All right. Let's see any other questions come in on the last. I think we're at time here, but I think we'll have.
I was just going to say, no time. If people stay here, I'll stay here.
Well, we know it's 2 a.m. for you. I guess 3 a.m. now, so we don't want to.
I only just woke up. I'm awake for the rest of the day. Don't stress.
Oh, okay, nice.
Then can we scale with Toolhouse? Yes, obviously I already told you, like, pricing wise, we grow as you grow. And then if you are taking off, let's talk like the price. The base price is just 1 cent per agent call, but then we also offer volume pricing. And when you go on the pricing page, you see that if you go on the business plan, that's where you truly start to scale. The cost is even less than 1 cent per call when you do the math between what we offer and the price. And then there's also the custom pricing. So if you need to really scale, that's obviously we're here for you. If you one day like wake up because your app is taken off completely, don't worry, like, it's not that we're going to charge you that mega bill. Don't panic, just talk to us, because we want you to succeed. If you win, it means that you are a vibe coder that's building a future company. You can be building the enterprise of the future, but you start today with the funds you have, with the company you have. So long, like the first thing that I will encourage you to do is to put the Stripe link on your app. If you built it for you, or if you saw a problem, it means that somebody else like you might see the same problem, maybe paying for it. That allows you to really understand, okay, am I solving a problem? And then from there, you basically start your own small business with just like Stripe, Lovable, Toolhouse, Supabase. You have all you need. You can start for free, and then you start making money almost for free. So, but even if you start growing, it's like what's that, like $25 for Lovable, $10 a month for 35. Supabase is still free. It's fantastic. And then you put the Stripe link there, and you start making money. So it's like, to me, I'm very excited because there's never been a time like this to scale so democratically for everybody. Everybody that's like 35 a month to spend on technology and some patience can actually become owner of its own future, financially speaking, and that's amazing.
There's an interesting question about programmatically telling the agent to store some info. If you want to store the info into Supabase via the agent, you can give specific guidelines to the agent to whether insert the data. For example, you could say, if a user mentions the color red, do not store anything he says into the Supabase database. So you can say things like that, and that way the agent will not execute the query to insert the data. If you're talking about the memory of the agent itself, when you have a conversation with the agent, then that gets a little bit more tricky, because the statefulness of our agent means that it stores all of the conversation between a certain user and the agent. So it's not really possible to like delete it after the fact, right? Because everything is chronologically stored in a huge array. So I guess it really depends what you mean and what your use case is. I'm sure there's a way around that.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you is that we actually saw this fantastic use case with one of our larger customers, actually. And they're building, so basically they're rebuilding their entire internal operations, like marketing, sales, lead generation, using Toolhouse. And so they have this lead generation agent that every day goes on the internet and tries to figure out like if there are new customers or new leads for them. And they programmatically use memory and their HubSpot MCP server to do that. And so what happens is every day the agent goes on the internet, does a search, finds some businesses, and if the business name is on HubSpot already, it says, okay, I'll put it in memory so you don't have to contact it again. And that's done programmatically. We also have a functionality that's called schedules that allows you to just schedule the agent to run at specific intervals. This way, you just don't have to, go to, PipeDream or Zapier just to do that. It's built in as well, and it's part of the 1 cent. You can do it. There's no additional charge for using schedules. So you can definitely do that. You just have to find the right use cases. But you can tell the agent to store or not store certain things in memory based on your preferences. Nice. Okay.
About it.
I think.
Any more questions while you've got the team here, guys? Might be the last opportunity.
Otherwise, I can pretend to sip from my Toolhouse mug, which has some coffee left.
It's a bit hard to see the Toolhouse logo on that one, I'm afraid. It's white on white.
Yeah, pure branding here.
Yeah, I told you, you hook me up with some of your merch, I'll be wearing it. Unfortunately, Adelaide, Australia might not be the best marketing place for you, but I'll wear it nonetheless.
Love that. No, absolutely. We'll
We'll send you a specific thing for Australia. So yeah.
Exactly. And, if I can, like, people in the chat, thanks for listening. But also, if you can give a huge shout out to Brenton. Brenton's been the true hero throughout the entire shipped adventure, not just for Toolhouse, but like providing support, being available to you, to us as well. So Brenton, thank you.
Yeah, if anybody has a LinkedIn account, tag Brenton, say thank you, Brenton, and then send some love, in public, so everybody knows that Brenton
You have to
is
go around
the
actually
man.
doing the Love Heart logo. That's what you need. Officially put it up everywhere.
I'm going to do that right now. Thank you.
That's very nice of you guys. Thank you. But I've also said this from the start. Orlando's got the love hearts going. Yeah. I've also said this from the start that none of this was possible without Talisha as well. So also please say your thanks to Talisha for creating this program.
Absolutely. Thank you, Talisha, as well.
And thank you, Roxy. Roxy's been here for every episode. She hasn't missed a beat. So thanks, Roxy.
Thank you, Roxy.
All right, guys.
Wants to sleep now.
Yeah, she's camera shy. She doesn't like the camera.
That's okay.
She knows, like, if I pull out my phone, I try to take a picture, she'll walk away. She knows what the camera is. But anyway, let's say thanks, everyone. Thanks for Toolhouse. I'm looking forward to trying this out actually myself. I saw the social media scraping, so I'm going to go build something just for Lovable using Toolhouse after this.
That's right.
That's right.
We're also, we'll keep hanging for Shipped on Circle. We're always around. Then also we are on Discord, discord.toolhouse.ai. So don't be shy. Come see us. We just want you to have you succeed. Thank you.
We're here to
Thank
help.
you, guys.
Oh, 12 more seconds. Yeah, that's awesome.
Almost.
If anybody needs some help, send us a private message. We've helped many of the names in the chat today. We want to help more.